back to find the sandbags not there, the cholera patient dead, and his 3 relatives droopy-eyed from the opium pills he had left, he felt neither anger nor exasperation, only the slight lack that had increased in the last hour of his drive, so that he stepped harder on the accelerator. Arriving at his bungalow, he washed down an opium pill with bottled water and lit the kerosene stove for his tea. He carried the tea onto the porch, and by the time he had finished the second cup, he was feeling the opium wash through the back of his neck and down his withered thighs. He could have passed for 50. Actually, he was 28. He sat there for half an hour looking at the muddy river and the low hills covered with scrub. There was a mutter of thunder, and as he cooked his evening meal, the first drops of rain fell on the rusty, galvanized iron roof. He awoke to the unaccustomed sound of lapping water. Hastily he pulled on his pants and stepped onto the porch. Rain was still falling, and the water had risen during the night to a level of 12 inches under the bungalow and a few inches below the hubcaps of his Land Rover. He washed down an opium pill and put water on the stove for his tea. Then he dusted off an alligator skin Gladstone bag and started packing, opening drawers and compartments in the safe. He packed clothes, reports, a compass, a sheath knife, a .45 Webley revolver and a box of shells, matches, and a mess kit. He filled his canteen with bottled water and wrapped a loaf of bread in paper. Pouring his tea, the water rising under his feet, he experienced a tension in the groin, a surge of adolescent lust that was stronger for being inexplicable and inappropriate. His medical supplies and opium he packed in a separate bag, and as an added precaution, a slab of opium the size of a cigarette package, wrapped in heavy tinfoil, went into his sidecoat pocket. By the time he had finished packing, his pants were sticking out at the fly. The opium would soon take care of that. He stepped from the porch into the Land Rover. The motor caught, and he headed for high ground above the flood. The route he took was seldom used, and several times he had to cut trees out of the road with an axe. Towards sundown he reached the medical mission of Father Dupre. This was out of his district, and he had met the priest only once before. Father Dupre, a thin, red-faced man with a halo of white hair, greeted him politely, but without enthusiasm. He brightened somewhat when Farnsworth brought out his medical supplies and went with him to the dispensary and hospital, which was simply a large hut screened in at the sides. The health officer passed out opium pills to all the patients. "No matter what is wrong with them, they will feel better shortly." The priest nodded absently as he led the way back to the house. Farnsworth had swallowed his opium pill with water from his canteen, and it was beginning to take effect as he sat down on the porch. The priest was looking at him with a hostility he was trying hard to conceal. Farnsworth wondered what exactly was wrong. The priest fidgeted and cleared his throat. He said abruptly in a strained voice, "Would you care for a drink?" "Thank you, no, I never touch it." Relief flooded the priest's face with a beneficent glow. "Something else, then?" "I'd love some tea." "Of course, I'll have the boy make it." The priest came back with a bottle of whiskey, a glass, and a soda siphon. Farnsworth surmised that he kept his whiskey under lock and key, somewhere out of the reach of his boys. The priest poured himself a generous 4 fingers and shot in a dash of soda. He took a long drink and beamed at his guest. Farnsworth decided that the moment was propitious to ask a favor, while the good father was still relieved at not having to share his dwindling supply of whiskey, and before he had overindulged. "I want to get through to Gadis if possible. I suppose it's hopeless by road, even if I had enough petrol." The priest got a map and spread it out on the table. "Absolutely out of the question. This whole area is flooded. Only possibility is by boat to here. From there, it's 40 miles downriver to Gadis. I could lend you a boat with a boy and outboard, but there's no petrol here." "I think I have enough petrol for that, considering it's all downstream." "You'll run into log jams. May take hours to cut through. Figure how long it could take you at the longest, and then double it. My boy only knows the route as far as here. Now, this stretch here is very dangerous. The river narrows quite suddenly. No noise, you understand, and no warning. Advise you to take the canoe out and carry it down to here. Take 1 extra day, but well worth it at this time of year. Or, of course, you might get through, but if anything goes wrong..."